Unaware of Lorwyn's diversity, it sees only itself reflected 1,000 times over. Mirror entity.
We've all had moments when we wish we could be in two places at one time, juggling work, children, and just life in general. Often pulls us in multiple directions. It forces us to prioritize, to delegate. But what if we didn't have to? Would it be worth the trouble? The ancient Egyptians believed in the Ka, or the vital essence of a person, which shares appearance, memories, and feelings with the individual they mimic. The Nords believe in the Vardiger, a spirit whose actions match and precede those of their person. Many cultures have their own mythology surrounding a spiritual double. In the mid-1800s, a new term was coined for the phenomena, the doppelganger. In 1845, Emily Segui began working at a Latvian boarding school. She was filled with a nervous energy, hoping that her new surrounding would be a good fit. After all, this was her 19th teaching assignment. Despite being liked by peers and students, previous institutions all seemed to move on from her after some time. Quickly, Emily gained a reputation as a go-getter. Fellow teachers would comment on how she could appear across campus in a blink of an eye. They would joke that it was like she could be in two places at one time. A few weeks later, an incident occurred that left people wondering if that was in fact the case. One morning, while giving a lesson to a room of 13 students, a second Mademoiselle Segui joined the original at the chalkboard. The two appeared exactly identical, down to their gestures and motions. The only difference? The original held a bit of chalk, while the copy did not. Students were stunned, as this carried on throughout the entire lesson, without even a mention from the original Emily Segui. Word quickly spread throughout campus, as more and more students experienced the doppelganger themselves. At times, the copy would mirror Emily's actions completely. For instance, one student reported an incident where Emily Segui was helping her into an evening gown. Looking into the mirror, she saw not one, but two copies of her teacher buttoning her dress. Shocked at the sight, the student fainted. At meals, it was often reported that the double would stand at Segui's side and mime her actions of eating. Occasionally, however, the double would act independently. In her most famous example of bilocation, 42 students reported watching Segui pick flowers in the campus garden one afternoon. The garden was located just outside their window and had a clear view at the head of the classroom. During the lesson, the other teacher stepped out for a moment, leaving her class unattended. The students claimed that Mademoiselle Segui entered the room and took a seat at the head of the class, all while the original continued to pick flowers in the garden. Students recalled that the movements of the original slowed while her double was present, as if she were tired. A few of the girls in the class worked up the courage to touch the double, reporting that she felt semi-solid, but with some give, much like running your hand over a piece of cloth on a clothesline. When the teacher returned to the room, Segui's double vanished from sight. After the garden incident, curious students questioned Segui about their encounter. Emily claimed that while she was in the garden, she noticed the class was left unattended, and she had hoped the girls wouldn't get into trouble unsupervised. She had no other recollection about that afternoon. Eventually, parents were alerted to the incidents with Segui. Student enrollment dropped from 42 to 12 in a matter of 18 months, causing the school to let her go. Distraught, Sagi moved in with her sister-in-law to help care for her nieces and nephews. It's said that the children loved having their two Aunt Emilys living with them. Emily Sagi is not the only historical example of the doppelganger phenomena. Padre Pio, a Catholic saint, was said to have the gift of bilocation. On numerous occasions, he appeared to people praying for their health, struggling with their faith, or lying on their deathbeds. During World War II, several Allied pilots reported seeing Pio's apparition while carrying out a bombing mission. Their target was close to San Giovanni Rotondo, a convent in Padre Pio's home. Shaken by the encounter, the pilots called off the mission. Afterward, one of the pilots claimed the apparition bore a striking resemblance to Padre Pio. Finally, on June 22, 1893, Vice Admiral George Tryon entered the drawing room of his London home. His wife was giving a party at the time, and this caught the attention of many of their guests. You see, the Vice Admiral commanded the HMS Victoria, which was off the coast of Syria at the time. His presence at the party was impossible, yet there he was. Walking through the crowd, the apparition was silent and acknowledged none of the partygoers before vanishing. Later that night, the HMS Victoria was involved in a collision, killing 358 members of its crew, including the Vice Admiral. Copy effects are a popular archetype dating all the way back to the release of Alpha in 1993. The card Clone was one of the originals, and it gave these effects their commonly used nickname. Since Alpha, there have been 57 unique cards printed to date that contain a clone-like ability. As they enter the game, they do so as a copy of another card on the battlefield. This allows the caster to have extra copies of powerful effects in their deck. My favorite of the bunch is Phantasmal Image. Unlike many clone effects, which result in perfect copies, Phantasmal Image is imperfect. As an illusion, if it becomes the target of a spell or ability, it must be sacrificed. This perfectly captures the flavor of the doppelganger mythos. Remember, Emily Sagi's double lacked solid form. Her students were practically able to pass through the copy. Much like Magic's Phantasmal Image, under close scrutiny, the illusion simply unraveled. The Miss Unbound podcast was created and written by Ryan and Xana. Intro reading provided by JM from Trying Casually Games, and music provided by JJ Mickey. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider following, rating, and leaving a comment. Most of all, thank you for listening.